Hola a todos, chavales, estamos aquí en un nuevo vídeo de Stanley Parable conmigo. Y nada, yo soy Manu Manubrio y vamos a subir un poco de este juego de Stanley Parable, unos cuantos finales, no sé si todos, dependiendo, supongo que muchos. Todísimos todos, todísimos todos, no, porque creo que no los he pasado todos, pero muchos, muchos. Así que nada, espero que disfrutéis de la serie, ¿eh? Venga, vamos a darle a comenzar la partida. Y a disfrutarlo, que es lo que toca.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Y bueno, aquí estamos. Somos Stanley, como os ha contado este compañero del metal.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Y nada, ¿podemos hacerle caso o no? Podemos hacer varias cosas. En el capítulo de hoy, que es el básico, vamos a hacerle caso. En plan, típica historia que todo el mundo conoce. La gente que juega a Stanley sabe, en plan, la gente sube este final, que es el final típico. Así que nada, vamos a hacerle caso al 100%.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos a ver qué se cocina.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Pero vamos a disfrutar un poco de esta habitación, ¿vale?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Durante un rato no vamos a hacerle caso, solo para dar un poco de salseo a este final, que si no... Mira, wow.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Mira, es que armario tan chulo, madre mía.
It
Una
was
llave
baffling
inglesa.
that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Exactamente, estamos aquí quietos y parados.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Yo también, compañero del metal. También estoy confundido.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Pues a mí me parece maravilloso este armario, ¿vale? Que te metas conmigo y
Maybe to
enamora mi
you,
armario.
this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
No, porque no tengo amigos, ¿vale? No puede pasar. Uy, no.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
Gracias.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Me han pillado, soy adicto a prostitutas.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Y a partir de aquí ya no hay más texto, en plan, pero bueno, ha sido divertido, emocionante estar en este armario. Wow, ahora vamos a hacer el final normal.
Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Uy, ¿se me vuelve a meter? No recuerdo yo si había algo aquí.
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Ya está, ya no dice nada. Sabía que terminaba aquí, pero bueno, venga, avancemos a la historia.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Le vamos a hacer caso. Les vamos a hacer caso. Apetece no hacerle caso nunca, a mí por lo menos, pero no voy a hacerle caso. Voy a hacerle caso.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he would not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Os comento, puedes poner esto, 2845, y se abre. Puedes no hacerlo, y si no lo haces, en plan no pones nada, al final él mismo lo pone y dice, uy, vaya, se ha activado de manera totalmente aleatoria.
Trying to input, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Increíble,
Amazing.
Amazing.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Eso lo pensaba yo. Nos damos a la tecla y nos vamos para el piso, creo que para abajo. Sí, hacia abajo, que no pare la fiesta. Y así carga hacia la siguiente sala. A ver si os gusta esta serie. Bastante más calmada.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Pues nada, avancemos por las callejuelas.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Veis? Hay muchas opciones con muchos diferentes finales. Pero yo voy a hacerle caso en esta partida.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
El juego consiste en lanzar aros, por si lo preguntabais.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wow, wow, wow.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Vale, chavales, podemos entrar aquí o podemos encontrar el easter egg súper divertido y gracioso. Os comento, ¿vale? Vosotros no vais a tener que esperar porque la magnífica magia de la edición os va a volver a salvar la vida. Pero yo me voy a comer esto y vosotros sabréis decir, me preguntaréis, ¿cómo se hace este easter egg de este juego? Mira, tenéis que esperar aquí sin subir a este ascensor durante 1 minuto. Y entonces la puerta esta se abre y puedes ir para atrás y empezar y hacer una cosa. Y ocurre algo bastante maravilloso, ¿veis? Se ha abierto la puerta. No creo que haga falta, no es 1 minuto, es unos segundos. Lo normal es que te subas ahí directamente y avances en la historia. Esto no cambia la historia, por eso lo hago. Y ya está.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Lo sabremos ahora.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Y bueno, aquí estamos, ¿no? Apretar botoncitos y tal. Mind control y de weighted input. Y nada. Así que continuemos por donde la susodicha historia, que es por aquí. Sé que os había dejado loquísimo esa canción. A mí también me dejó muy roto la primera vez.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Vamos a elegir apagarla o encenderla, mantenerla encendida. Vamos a mantenerla apagada en esta decisión, ¿eh? En este final.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Corriendo, narrador omnisciente.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Y ya está, compañeros. ¿Qué os parece? ¿Os ha gustado? No, aquí ha pasado algo.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ha cambiado el suelo.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿A qué se debe esto? Nada, nada, compañeros. Lo continuaremos en el siguiente capítulo. Espero que os haya gustado y tal. El final, por así decirlo, bueno, el final de hacerle caso a tope ahí. Darle al like y esas cosas, ¿eh? Venga, adiós, 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 adiós.